Welcome back to Oklahoma Gardening. Today I'll start off by sharing a couple of celosias we have growing in the garden. We head south to visit the Chickasaw Cultural Center's butterfly garden. Former host Ray Campbell is back to share how to select a ripe watermelon. David Hillock explains some common pesticides. And then Christi is cooking up some delicious zucchini fries. Underwriting assistance for our program is provided by the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping to keep Oklahoma green and growing. Oklahoma Gardening is also a proud partner with Shape Your Future, a program of the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust. Shape Your Future provides resources for Oklahomans to make the healthy choice the easy choice. Oklahoma Gardening's 50th anniversary. I love sharing with you guys the cool things that plants can do.
People in Oklahoma love their gardens.
I feel like this is the people's show.
We all know we're working towards the common goal, and that's to produce the best quality television and information for our audience. This time of year, I always like to highlight annuals that are doing well in the garden, especially as we get into these hot summer months. And so I've got two here that I want to show you that are in our All-America Selection display garden. We've got here Flamma Orange and then Burning Embers. Both are the flame type celosias, as you can see. And what's really nice about them is they are AAS winners, but they're winners because they give you such consistent color all through the planting season. So whether you're an OSU fan or no, you can select your color here, or maybe you just are looking for that particular orange or kind of this sort of a pinkish, hot pink red color to add into your garden. Now, the Flamma Orange was an AAS winner in 2022, and then this was a more recent winner in 24. This one will get about 11 inches tall, whereas this one's going to stay a little bit shorter, as you can see here. But what's nice about them is they have plenty of branching structure, and every time it branches, it's going to give you a new flower. So you're constantly getting new flowers on top of it. You can see the orange one here has just those nice green leaves kind of as a background to highlight those orange flowers, whereas the pink one here, the burgundy one, it has kind of a burgundy foliage to it, and it's also got a real red stems and then also some veining as well. So you're going to get some extra color from the foliage as well. Now I know we've had a wet spring and then the rain has shut off, but because we had such wet springs, a lot of people were suffering from different root issues with some of your annuals. And it's always important to kind of shift different annuals from year to year so that you don't have some of those root problems, especially when there's moisture or heavy rainfalls in those spring months. So this might be one to consider alternating next spring. Today we're in Sulphur, Oklahoma at the Chickasaw Cultural Center, and joining me is Jennifer Bryant, who is the Director of Horticulture. And Jennifer, we are in your butterfly pollinator garden, right?
Yeah, Chukma, welcome to our butterfly garden.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful garden. Obviously the sculptures really stand out, but the flowers are why the pollinators come. Tell us a little bit about some of the plants you have here.
Yeah, so we grow a variety of native plants throughout our campus, not just here on our butterfly garden, but we will go out and we selectively harvest throughout the Chickasaw Nation local seed, and we grow it out in our 2-bay greenhouse, and we plant it throughout our campus. So in this bed we have several species that are really good for butterflies. In the monarch we have the butterfly weed milkweed, which is really good for our monarchs, and we have several pollinator nectar producing
Yeah.
plants such as the Mexican hat here.
You even have some woody shrubs over there. The plum tree?
Yeah, so we have Chickasaw plums here, and we grow those throughout our campus as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a beautiful garden. And like you just said, I mean, this is a nice sized garden if it was in your backyard, but your campus is how large exactly? And
So we have 184 acres here at the Chickasaw Cultural Center.
okay. And a lot of these pollinator plants are planted throughout, correct?
Yeah, we have almost 80 beds here on campus, and pretty much milkweed is in almost every single one of our beds. And we really try and extend that pollinator habitat to all of our beds.
Well, I know we're all looking out for the pollinators and the monarchs especially, but can you tell us why it's culturally significant to you guys?
So, you know, we can't have the plants that we rely on without our pollinators. So many culturally significant plants, the foods that we eat, they need to be pollinated. And also the butterfly is the symbol of the dynamic Chickasaw woman. So we're really trying to promote their conservation.
Excellent. And I believe you have a big festival coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so September 13th, we'll have Monarch Butterfly Day. And this is a day we celebrate the monarch butterfly and its conservation. We will bring our partners in conservation here on campus, and we'll have lots of different activities. We'll have the UT Butterfly Farm will bring their butterfly tent, and we give away painted lady caterpillars. We'll have build your own butterfly gardens, so you can take home your own start of 6 plants for your own garden at home.
Excellent. So where can people find more information about that?
Yeah, so if you visit our website and our social media accounts.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information. It's a fabulous garden and just a great place to get out and learn a little bit more about the Chickasaw Nation.
Yeah, Yakuki, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I was doing a segment on how to select a ripe watermelon. Be sure you select it, and you're exactly right. I went down to Perkins, to our research station at Perkins, and selected a great big, really, really nice crimson sweet watermelon that was perfect as far as all the signs of it being ripe. And so I brought that and took it into the studio, and I only brought that one watermelon. So I brought it into the studio at OETA, and we were doing still on the table in the studio with one chance. And so I showed everyone how to select the ripe watermelon, and I said, but the only way to really tell if that watermelon is ripe is to cut it open. And so I cut that watermelon open, and it was green. It was only ripe right around the edges where the seeds were, and the middle was still pretty green. And so I pulled it up in front of my face like that so no one could see it. And the videographer, the photographer, so he kept saying, put it down, put it down, put it down. I went, and so they finally closed the show. But that was so embarrassing because I couldn't show that beautiful ripe watermelon. Yeah. But, you know, if we'd had another watermelon and done the takeover, maybe I would have done it again.
I think that's still one of the #1 most asked questions is how to pick a ripe watermelon.
I still get people asking me about that. Yeah.
We're back out here at the OSU Student Farm, and joining me today is one of my favorite people, Ray Campbell, former host of Oklahoma Gardening.
Good to be here. Good to be here, Casey.
Thank you so much. And you're going to redeem yourself a little bit, right? We're going to find us a ripe watermelon today. We're not live, don't worry.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do my best. Okay, yeah. But as you saw in the clip earlier, this was way back, not long after Oklahoma Gardening first started, back in the mid '70s or maybe even early '80s, and we were doing the show at OETA on the tabletop demonstration, and they were showing how to do a ripe watermelon, how to choose a watermelon that was ripe, and I only had one watermelon. And I didn't have a chance to redo it. And I went through all the signs of what makes a ripe watermelon ripe to the eye and to the feel. And then we cut the watermelon, and lo and behold, it wasn't ripe.
We got a few backups here.
Yeah, I've got some backups today. So
the good thing about it being live, though, is there's no evidence of that tape.
Well, that's good too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe I can redeem myself because I do know how to choose a good watermelon.
Correct.
I've proved it over and over again. And this is watermelon season still in Oklahoma. It will be for still a few more weeks. It's been a very good year for watermelons. We just recently had the Watermelon Festival in Rush Springs, Oklahoma, the watermelon capital of the world. And so everybody goes down there and takes a look at the melons. With all these melons, how do you know that you're going to get a good ripe watermelon?
Right.
Well, there are some signs that point that way.
Okay.
And one of the signs that we want to look at is the stem. Ideally, you'd like to get a watermelon with still some of the stem on it, because that way you have a better chance. If there's still a little curl or tendril on the stem and it's really, really dried up, that's a pretty sure sign that the melon is ripe. And also the watermelon stem close to the melon itself will have little hairs or fuzzy-like growth on it. If those are still there and very prominent, the watermelon is probably not ripe. It's probably still green.
Because it's still taking up water to make those hydrated, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And then if it gets smooth, like this one's really smooth, then that watermelon is a good chance that it's ripe.
Okay.
Another thing I like to look at is what they call the ground color. It's where the melon was on the ground. And if that ground color is a nice yellow, smooth look, then that's a good sign that the melon is ripe as well. And you may see some webbing and scarring on the melon itself. And I wasn't really aware of this, but I read from the National Watermelon Board that scarring and webbing that you see on there is really a sign of good pollination. And the more there is of that on the melon, the sweeter the melon's going to be.
So when this is a small ovary in the flower, that bee's in there actually scarring it a little bit.
Yes, scarring it.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And then this happens to be a crimson sweet, and that was the same melon we had in my big fiasco when I had green melon. And I like the crimson sweet because it also tells you something. You can feel the melon, and if the melon is smooth and waxy feeling, it's probably not ripe. But if you feel the melon, run your hand over it, and it's sort of a dull, dry feel and has little ridges on it. The good ripe watermelon will begin to ridge a little bit, like these do. And so, there's a lot of signs you can look for.
And you were talking about the yellow belly, though.
Yes.
So, like on this one, you want to make sure it's not soft. Or
Exactly.
This one's not soft, but there's a little bit of
but if you look at the one on the end, I think it is down there, you'll see that it's even, the second one, I'm sorry, that one's probably even a little bit more.
Yeah.
And be sure and look at the blossom end. If the blossom end is soft, then that melon is way overripe.
Okay. Yeah, these seem to be good, but this one has a little insect damage, but not all the way through. But you want to make sure nothing has gone through to the watermelon, right?
Exactly. Check a good, you check it over good, inspect it. And then some people like to hit on it or thump on it and see what it feels like. I don't know, I get different sounds when I do that, so I'm not sure how reliable it is, but some people say, listen for a good hollow sound. If it's real hollow and bounces back on your hand, bounces back, which this one does, it's probably ripe. If it's real dull and a thud is real dull, it's overripe. Okay. So let's take a look at these, and the best way, though, as I mentioned on my show back in the 70s, the best way to tell if a watermelon is ripe, of course, is the knife test. Okay. And so we get our knife.
So that's the winning one, you think?
This is the winning one. I'm going to try this one. If not, we got something to choose from.
And it's nice when they already sort of crack it.
And they cracked a little bit, so that's a good sign. And I want to thank the people at the Student Farm for growing these melons. That's really a good addition to our daily bread food bank here in Stillwater, because that's look at that.
Look at that.
Beautiful watermelon. Good crimson sweet melon, developed by Kansas State University. It's one of the choice watermelons to grow in Oklahoma still. And we'll just tell you what to do. Let's just cut that again. There you go, Casey.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have to work for mine. It came out.
Shall we try it?
Yeah. Cheers to you.
today, as we go into the garden centers to look for pest control options, even if whether it be synthetic or organic, doesn't matter, there are lots and lots of options. And it can get confusing, as many of you know. So it's really important that we pay close attention to what these products are offering us. You know, the manufacturers, they have come up with some pretty attractive, eye-catching bottles and labels and have great information, you know, trying to attract you to that product, which is great. But the thing you need to really pay attention to is that active ingredient. And for those of you who've been gardening for a long time, like many other products, consumer products that we use, we get used to brand names that refer to specific things. So in the case of gardening, for those who've been gardening for a long time, things like Roundup was initially associated with the active ingredient of glyphosate. And 7 was known for the active ingredient of carbaryl. Well, over the years, those things have changed for various reasons. And so, for example, we have a couple of Roundup products here. So Roundup, which many of us have known to be glyphosate, doesn't have glyphosate in it anymore, at least for the Roundup products. So Roundup is owned by Bayer now. They bought Monsanto, who was the original manufacturer of glyphosate. And because of all the litigation and whatnot, they voluntarily took glyphosate from all of their consumer home garden products. So now you have a wide variety that you will see, and you need to make sure you pay attention to what is in those bottles or these containers and what they're labeled to apply them to and where you can apply them. So this is the Weed and Grass Killer 4, which is essentially the product that Roundup or Bayer has come out with that is the replacement for what used to be glyphosate. And it has 3 different active ingredients in there, all geared to attack or provide certain control of different types of weeds. Another one that I was really familiar with for a long time was Preen. Preen, the brand name Preen, when it first came out, it had trifluralin in it. And it still does, many of the products still do. They released this product several decades ago when Dacthal, which was a common active ingredient as a pre-emergence herbicide, was also removed from consumer products. And so they replaced it with trifluralin. But now, if you go into the garden centers, again, you're going to find many products that have Preen. But now they have not just trifluralin in them, they'll be labeled for different purposes and with different active ingredients. So I know there's one for like weeds for southern lawns, weed for northern lawns. There's the organic weed control, which has corn gluten meal in it. So again, even though you might become familiar with the brand names, you need to make sure that you read the labels carefully. Another one that's very common that, again, many of us who have been in gardening for a long time associated 7 with carbaryl. That's what it was for a long time. And then several years ago, Garden Tech acquired the brand name of 7, and now they produce numerous products, and they've also removed carbaryl again from these products. So now they all have something different in them. Now, if you still have some old ones around, that's fine. So here's one that actually still has carbaryl dust in it. And then we also have another one. This is a newer product of dust, but it has actually bifenthrin in it. And then the common ready-to-use spray. This one has lambda cyhalothrin in it, and this one has zeta cypermethrin in it. So here we have 3 products with the brand name 7, but we actually have 4 different active ingredients in each one. So just like other consumer products that we're familiar with, like Kleenex is a brand name for tissues, and Tylenol is the brand name for products that have acetaminophen in them, we also have many pesticides that have different labels, different brandings. So it's very important that you read the label and look for that active ingredient, which is on the front of every product. Make sure you look at that first, make sure you know what's in it, and then look at the labels and make sure it's labeled for applying for your purpose and in your site.
If you're looking for some new recipe ideas to use up that zucchini in your garden, you'll want to give this one a try. Today we're going to make zucchini fries. So these are going to be a healthier option than fried zucchini or French fries, because we're not going to use any oil for this recipe. But we're going to start by cutting up our zucchini. And these zucchini have already been washed and dried. And so I'm just going to start by cutting the ends off. And then we'll cut them kind of like French fries. Now, if you had a larger zucchini, because these are kind of small, if you had larger zucchini, you'd probably want to cut them in half. But these are really, I mean, they're not, they're a little bit longer probably than a traditional French fry. But if I was to cut those in half, they'd be kind of too small. But if you wanted to do this and not do them like French fries, you could also cut them like coins. You could do them that way also. Okay, and as we finish up the last pieces of our zucchini, then we can start mixing them with our other ingredients, which I already mentioned we're not using any oil, but you all will also like that there's not very many ingredients that are going to be needed for this recipe. Okay, so we're going to use 2 large eggs that I've already put them in this bowl, but we just need to whisk them together a little bit. Okay, and next we'll be using 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs. And to the mixture or the bowl with the panko breadcrumbs, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and just 1 teaspoon of pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt. So we'll just mix that together. And if you wanted to add some more spices, like maybe some garlic powder or paprika or cayenne pepper, you know, you could do that at this step as well. I'm just going to use the salt and pepper though today. Okay, so now that we've got our topping ready, we'll take the zucchini and our little zucchini fries, and we're going to first dip them into the egg. Get a couple in there at a time, that way they can soak up a little bit of that egg mixture. And then from the egg, we'll dip them into the panko bread mixture. And then we're going to place these on our sheet that I've already pre-lined with parchment paper. Now, I do recommend using the parchment paper just so, you know, since we're not using any oil, we don't want the zucchini to stick to the pan, and that'll really help with that. So we're just going to do these one at a time until I've got all of the zucchini fries in the mixture, rolled in the mixture, and on our parchment paper. Okay, and then we're putting our last zucchini onto our baking sheet. And you'll want to make sure that you're not overlapping the zucchini. You want to make sure that they're not drawing moisture to end up steaming. You want to make sure that they end up crispy and crunchy like French fries. But we're going to bake these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 to 22 minutes, and then we'll be turning them occasionally. So you'll want to either clean the set of tongs that you've got now or get another pair, because you don't want to transfer any egg, you know, that could possibly have bacteria onto your zucchini that's cooking in the oven. So we're going to go ahead and add these to the oven for 20 to 22 minutes. You could also cook these in the air fryer. You would just adjust the temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, it looks like our zucchini fries are now ready. And we did add grated Parmesan cheese to our mixture, but if you wanted to add something like maybe some shredded Parmesan or other cheese on top, you could do that. And these make a great appetizer or side dish. And you can serve them with marinara or ranch dressing or whatever your favorite dipping sauce might be. But there we go. That is the zucchini fries. I hope you enjoy it.
For this recipe and more like it, scan this QR code. There are a lot of great horticulture activities this time of year. Be sure and consider some of these events in the weeks ahead.
Join us next week as we travel beyond the state lines to learn more about the future of the horticulture industry.
Okay, about the cooking side of things, you know, having fresh stuff last longer.
Hey, stop.
Oh, we just lost your mic. To find out more information about show topics as well as recipes, videos, articles, fact sheets, and other resources, including a directory of local extension offices, be sure to visit our website at oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. Join in on Facebook and Instagram. You can find this entire show and other recent shows as well as individual segments on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. Tune in to our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel to watch segments from previous hosts. Oklahoma Gardening is produced by the Oklahoma Cooperative Extension Service as part of the Division of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Oklahoma State University. The Botanic Garden at OSU is home to our studio gardens, and we encourage you to come visit this beautiful Stillwater gem. We would like to thank our generous underwriters, the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, and Shape Your Future, a program of the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust. Additional support is also provided by Greenleaf Nursery and the Garden Debut Plants, the Oklahoma Horticulture Society, the Tulsa Garden Club, and the Tulsa Garden Center.